Hey, Jasmine.
I think it's funny. I make a change and you change it back.
So I brought your stuff back. I brought your thing back in the front. So
Okay.
you're fine. Okay. So thank you for doing this. This is good. What I did, I took it from there and I brought it back in the front as a starting concept.
Perfect.
Thank you, Trevor.
PowerPoint is not my gift, but I try to play a little bit.
That's awesome. And look, I at least good thing is we're thinking like, you got me
Yeah.
something, I built it other way around. I'm missing
Yeah.
something, you came and plugged it in. So,
Yeah, and I popped in a couple of different photos just so they look different.
oh,
On Horizon, I did the different one about cash flowing asset that Mike wanted.
okay, let me run I didn't see that. Let me run that by, let me show you real quick what I have.
Yeah, I changed the one, just the picture on Horizon, just the graphic.
Is it the one?
Yeah, invest in a cash flowing property. So I just
Yeah.
updated that with, that's the new message Mike wanted.
Okay. Okay. So what I did was one thing, I took the team out here.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'll pitch the team later depending on the storyline, right?
Yeah.
And then I started with your
Okay,
professional
that's
lawyer,
perfect.
right? That's like a boom out in the front.
Yeah.
And then I'll
And then
walk you guys
you'll
through
start into the rest. Okay,
yes,
perfect.
rest. So another way, ta-da, you can hand me over here if you want. I can go to the whole process, or you can hand me here. I can go to the process. It's up to you. You just continue with it. Then I went from then here. I want to say how massive solved the problem.
Yeah,
It's this. And then I'll spin that around. I also think everybody, and this is how massive solved it. I'm just talking out loud.
yep,
And this is what we think we need to able to help by
yeah,
differentiating. We started the massive masters because of that.
yeah.
And this is what it is. And I want to take the dollar out. Okay,
And
now
if
it's
you
nicer.
make me a co-host,
Absolutely, sir.
I'll make you co-host.
thank you.
Okay. I'm not a, am I a co-host? I don't even know. I don't think so I can do anything. Jasmine got the superpower.
Jasmine.
Boom. Did you know that off of our 35 people or 60 people who signed up or whatever, 48, 50 people signed up, about 25, 30 of them are Rice alums?
No, I did not. That's a lot.
That's a lot. So I have to tone down my heart pitch of 20 grand. I need to weave it out a little better. So tonight I'm gonna practice like how the heck
Ooh,
I put me on a defensive posture now. I gotta figure the damn thing out. So I gotta come out. So the flow of the story, I'm gonna change a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. But damn, that's a lot of weight now.
for
It's gonna
sure.
be. But
It's
look,
gonna be great. It's gonna be fun.
I think so, and that's also because those are our ideal client,
Yeah.
right? Those are our ideal client, and we gotta go shake the tree nicely, catch them off, go on the other side, and then go to the next one. So we'll see.
And I'm coming in a day early because Thursday night I'm joining up with David Priest. If you remember, he was at our last one.
Yeah.
He's a co-host of a accredited investor network, and he said they get like 40 people, and he asked me to come as his guest. So I thought, well, I'm driving to Houston. I'll come a day early, and that's something I want to start here in Austin, anyways. So
Cool. I gave a person information to Janae. He is the most well-known party planner, event planner, or dinner planner. Like he got a bunch of books. He's famous. So he lives in Austin. So Janae's gonna connect to see what we can do. And also there is a doctor lady whose event that you went to. What
Shamira, the
you?
one in Dallas,
Yes.
yeah,
I thought she
she's
was in
doing an
Houston.
oil and
Wasn't in
gas
Houston.
event now.
Yeah, I want to connect. I think I've seen her. I met her once in Houston last year on the IMN event, not IMN, MFIN. And I need to connect with her on the site to see where is she thinking, where is she going to go. Maybe I would like to understand a little bit more. I've
She
been
did
running.
fund to fund
Yes,
with somebody who had it already set up and did everything for her. So she
that's right.
basically just brought doctor money to the deal
Yep, yep,
and they did everything else.
yep. So that's fine. So that's her. Then I'm talking to Vinky a little bit. I think I'm getting close to Vinky, and and so we'll see how that goes.
And I'm a good friend of Inky's, so
Yes.
I'm a passive on storage that they built in Charlotte. Unfortunately, we're not doing great.
We
Hey,
are.
really quick, sorry. Jeff Russo, Trevor,
Yeah.
is in the waiting room, so he's gonna be here. He's the guy that he's trying to sign up for the mastermind, Gerard.
Okay.
So if you get a chance to connect with him at the end, I'm gonna, try to get him on the breakout room or something. So I
Thank
already
you.
had
At
a
7 o'clock, it started.
conversation
Yeah.
that Trevor had one, and I think he needs you to.
Okay.
I don't know. I invite him to the Monday call, so he hopefully
Okay.
he can join next Monday. But let's just
Okay.
keep an eye on him, or
Yeah. And I would say at the after 7:15 or so, I can break out and have a quick call in the breakout room. Brenda, you can host it. I can go and come back in and out all the way. So that's what we can do. Cool. And let's try to stay till 7:30. Let's engage till 7:30 for 30 minutes. That we can go in and out that way.
Okay.
Okay.
I told my wife dinner 7:45.
Oh, okay. No,
The
Trevor, you break
last-
out at 7:15. Make your wife happy. Don't you mess that up now.
No, I said
We
7:45. We're good.
no, 7:15 you get out because you start at 7:15. You'll be hanging out at 7:20. Thing is, and I want to hang out another more time. So
who's got the music?
I don't know. Brenda got the music. You got the music. I'm a boring guy, man. You guys are the fancy people.
Brenda, you got it.
I don't have any.
I had some big meetings today. I'm gonna have 3 more big meetings tonight. I'm excited. No, 2 more. 2 more. I want to go for the whole thing tonight. It's gonna be funny.
For the big wins.
I'm going to pitch a fund, M&A company who are owned by NFL players to partner with us. I'm gonna go for all the way. So I have to do a presentation, 4 or 5 pages that look nice and pretty, and then I want to pitch that out. So whatever happened, then I want to take that, copy it out, revamp it for another guy who has yachts. I would say partner with us. So I'll make 2 pitches today. I'll go from there.
We don't let note takers in, do we?
No.
Yeah, we got 35 people. 32 in the waiting room.
Hey, Jacinta, she's also interested on Horizon.
Which one?
Jacinta,
That's it. Okay.
spoke with her last week.
We got 36 people. I think this topic should hit pretty home. A lot of people. I wanna mess around. So I'm gonna mess around today. So I've been learning. What's the guy's name? The insurance
Jeff?
company guy. No.
Oh.
We got the Grant Cardone. Then there's another guy, the Lebanese guy, the insurance. He's having his
Patrick Bet-David?
Patrick. Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Patrick does infotainment. So I'm gonna go try the infotainment side a little bit and see how that goes around. So
Have you
I've
read
been
his,
learning my style. What's up?
have you done his book, The Next 5 Moves? It's
I
awesome.
loved it. I loved it.
It's like incredible.
I mean, then that's to me, a CEO, you are taking, or leader, right? You are taking the thing through. I mean, when I said I believe it, everything I do is new to me, but it's not new to the system. I'm copying somebody's path. I'm walking somebody's path already. I rather copy the damn thing and I go.
I don't know why Steven can't get
Yeah,
it.
he's great. I have a picture with him. I should post it. So,
Yeah.
you know, but
I met Marcus Lemonis last week. I couldn't believe how personal he was about his presentation. It was amazing. So he had some lady get up on stage and talked about it, and her real dream is to use tarot cards to predict your business. And he went,
Awesome.
okay, who in the audience thinks this is crazy? And some guy raised his hand and he brought the guy up. Why do you think this is crazy? And he said, but this is what I'm going to do. How much does it cost to get a tarot card reading? $500. I'm buying you one because you should have your mind open.
That's right.
It was,
100%.
he was unbelievable. I was super impressed. Way more than I ever anticipated for my $49.
Do we let people in?
Yeah, we want to let him in.
Yeah, let me
You
you
put
share
me
the
as
screen.
co-host?
Oh, are we on
Okay.
Facebook Live? Or whatever it is that we do?
Brandon
Who's
needs to be
doing
made a
Facebook
co-host.
Live?
Awesome.
You guys don't see, do you?
I see your screen. All right, we got 50 people.
I want to share the screen. I want to share.
Right.
Do you want to put me as co-host?
How do I do that? Oh, Jasmine got the superpower.
One second.
Jasmine's in charge.
Yes.
Okay, can you?
Let people in. Just down a little bit. It was loud.
All right.
Let people in though.
Let me
Right?
make
Yep.
Brenda co-host and let's go.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to our Wednesday webinar. We've got a good topic tonight, very timely topic tonight. So we're going to start. We're going to get going right away. Anytime you have a question, put it in the chat. We will do our best to answer it at some point during the webinar. Sometimes we stop, sometimes we don't. But again, remember, these happen every Wednesday night, and our goal is to provide education based on what Massive Capital is doing, what we believe is happening. We want to make sure that we make this interactive, and then we'll hang around for a little bit afterwards to get to know everybody. So Wednesday night case study. This is an educational series. So we are not professionals, we are not advisors, we are not accountants, we're not lawyers. So you need to always do your own due diligence anytime that you're going to be doing anything, any real estate investing. All right, we are super excited. We have a cool event coming up. A lot of people think that the work is getting a multifamily deal. I'm here to tell you that's the exact opposite. The work stops once you're closed, and we have an event coming up this Saturday at Rice University on Saturday the 18th. It's going to start at 8 in the morning, go till about 7 at night, and we are going to show you what Massive Capital is doing to be able to be sure that we are doing the best that we can managing our assets. So we're going to give you a peek behind the curtain. This is a whole schedule of the day here. You can see we've got quite a lot of things happening. If you are going to sign up, bring a laptop. It's going to be interactive. You're going to be working. You're going to be put in work in group room. Yeah, you're going to be working in groups. We really want to make this a solid day of learning. So anybody who's interested in it, make sure that you sign up as soon as possible. All right, so tonight we're going to talk a little bit about Massive Capital. We're going to talk about being investors and partners. Today, we're talking about underwriting and evaluating your syndication team. And then as always, we'll have plenty of time at the end for Q&A. So Massive Capital is a vertically integrated real estate company specialized in ground up construction, retail, flex, industrial, and mixed use multifamily. We are owner operated of value add multifamily assets. You can see in the top right, we're very Texas centric, but we do have assets in Denver, North Carolina, and Georgia. We have been working on retail deals in Phoenix and Tampa. On the left-hand side, we're equity fund. Brokerage is on the triple net side. So is the property management company. We're involved in development, construction. We have an awesome new tech company. So I'm going to put a link in the chat if you want to learn a little bit about it. We're offering a 14-day free trial if you're interested to look at our CRM system. And of course, we'll do a little bit later, but we have our mastermind and we're super excited about that. So Realty One itself has almost 500,000 square feet of retail, just under 300 million. Massive Capital has 1,387 multifamily units. We are building the X space in Houston. It needs to stop raining so we can start construction any day now. They were supposed to start going and nothing but rain, so we're going to get it. And we have just a little over 200 million. We do, so far in 22-23, we did 15 closings. We have several LOIs pending. We still have a little bit of room. You can see we're 95% subscribed for our Horizon opportunity. I want to talk just a little bit more about the Horizon opportunity. A lot of people don't understand this. So we have closed the Horizon opportunity, but we still have room that's available. So a lot of people say, well, how in the world can you still have room? Well, it's because we needed so much money to close, but we need to raise the rest of the money to implement our business plan and to do our CapEx and all the expenditures. One thing I'm here to tell you, this property is cash flowing day one. Not a lot of properties can say that. Going to launch a quick little poll. If anybody's interested in learning more about this opportunity, we're estimating in 5 years, we're going to 2.11 multiple your money. We're offering an estimated 18% IRR. This particular one does have a 7% preferred return. What this means is the investors, until you make 7% accumulated on your money, us as sponsors and general partners, we're not making any money. So we're highly motivated to make sure that you get your money submitted. Submit deals, I will put that in the chat as well in a second here if you wanted to send deals. So again, Horizon is a great opportunity. I've been at the property several times now. Super excited for what's happening here. All right, so Massive Capital, we believe in group learning by actually doing. I put the wrong thing in again. I put my client Harbor's chat in again, sorry. We believe in group doing. So our mastermind and everything that we do is completely different, right? So actually, Shar, why don't you go ahead and do this slide? You always do this one better than I do.
Carol, thank you. I really appreciate it. So, for us, the whole thing, it's about group learning and actually doing, right? We can go to YouTube University, which is great, but ultimately, if you don't roll up the sleeves, don't do it, we don't get to appreciate what happens, right? So on that note, all of our masterclass webinar objective is how to get started in multifamily. So most of the conversation and the discussion that we have, it's on the multifamily, caters around LP and co-sponsors and from the syndication end of it. So most of our conversation with all those master classes and the webinars, it's from the syndication angle geared towards the LP and or the GP. So if you want to be an LP, there's a lot more that goes in it. And hopefully our goal is to, once the case study, to give you behind the curtain a little bit more analytics. More analytical way of understanding what happens, and then you can make a decision based on that, or at least give you a flavor of what type of thinking you need to think, so you can do some more homework at your own time, right? Okay, so on that note, next slide. What we're looking for partners all the time. We buy land, we JV with the landowners for Class A triple net developments. That has to be Class A in a core assets and Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and DFW area. So that's there. So that's what we're looking for. We're actively buying. Today, I had a meeting, or us and Realty One, we went to Johnson Development's office in Houston. We're looking to buy about 13 acres from them and another retail center development in Katy area. It was really great discussion, and it is off market behind their 9,000 home masters development. The owner of the Johnson was there. His son was there, and so it was a great conversation. Retail JV is the same way. I'm going to Austin tomorrow to walk at 27 acres in the northeast of Austin. The seller is rolling in a $17 million of land in a partnership with us. We are very close. We're competing with another company, but that's the type of conversation we're having. On the multifamily side, we do new acquisition on a value add multifamily, 1980s plus, 150 or more, pitch roof, no coastal areas. We are avoiding the coastal areas for now, so no Florida for us on the multifamily side. LaPorte, Baytown, then Corpus Christi, we're not going into that. We also helping some of the other partners that we have on the asset advisory side, that they're on the boots on the ground, but sometime the directional view to come in and help the C-level team or the sponsor team. We also provide debt and loan guarantor as a KP. So we have a deal under contract. We're KPing the deal for the loan and also providing the asset advisory, which is 2 and 3, but we're not leading the deal. And the last thing is we have the Massive Masters. It's designed based on case study. Our whole goal is, if you look at deals after deals after deals in a very intense amount of time, then you should be able to say what the good deal or bad deal looks like. Based on that, you can make a decision whether you buy or lead or say no to a deal. All right, so this is a very interesting timely topic. So we thought we underwrite. So for full disclaimer, Massive underwrites everything. We underwrite ourselves, we underwrite our team, we underwrite the brokers, we underwrite the lenders, we underwrite everybody, if you ask me. Because one of the way we like to joke around that if I do underwrite, or if we do underwrite you, that way we get to know you. And if you underwrite us, then you get to know us. So when you do a deal, just think about it, underwriting, right? You want to understand who are you partnering with, what deal you're looking at, and why you're looking at, what the assumptions are, what happened if the assumptions change over time, what happened if the assumptions are wrong going in, and we're in the middle of the process, right? So to us, underwriting it's a fun thing. So tonight's topic is underwriting the sponsor team, right? So that's what we're going to do. Again, request any questions you may have, drop in the chat. We're going to come back later in the session to recoup. And then if we miss it after 7 o'clock, I know we turn off the video and we talk about detailed stuff, and it gets really fun. All right. Okay, so establishing the baseline. So let's see if we have the questions. How do we get started? I don't know anything. I'm a brand new person. I want to be an LP of a deal. What do I do? The conventional way will be you ask a bunch of questions. Who are we investing with? And are they full time? And are they full time? Do they have local knowledge? Are they providing me education or giving me access to the reporting and things like that? Do they have a track record? And are the assumptions realistic and reasonable? And are they disclosing everything? To me, it's a conventional way. And I will give you a story. My degree, my undergrad is electrical engineering, and I did semiconductors. So I thought I'll be designing microchips, so like a TI, Motorola, that kind of a work. But then I end up going to Shell and the downstream refinery. So if you folks who works in engineering on the downstream, refinery, everything is rusty, everything is leaking, everything is falling apart, right? But then when you walk around, not everything is falling apart because by design, some of them look like that. So the question is, who you invest with, but do we understand what the definition of who or the definition of the importance, right? And then number two, if you think about it, are they full-time with local knowledge? Question is, what is the definition of local knowledge, right? And so we're going to go down this conversation one layer deeper and try to give you a framework what the definition will look like. That'll give you our definition of local. Our definition of local is somebody owns an asset at a similar type that they're trying to buy for at least 24 months. Why 24 months? 24 months gets you 2 cycles of taxes and insurance, and also enough time to pay the lenders, and also enough time to break things and then go fix it. So 24 months, it's enough time for us to own something, thing goes wrong and that kind of stuff. That makes us local. Just because I live in the city, that does not make me local in the real estate definition. That's ours. So I'll give you more to it as you go, right? So keep that in mind. Just keep this 6 or 7 questions on the screen in mind. Then we'll take you down and give you a version of how we see the world, and then I can share some data points and how we came about, and we'll go from there. Okay. So let me step back. From the context perspective, when we underwrite any partnership, we ask the question for how long. So our view of the world is it takes about 3 to 5 years to full cycle evaluate multifamily, probably in the 5 years zone right now. 3 years when market was hot, 5 years, around 5 to 7 years is today's market. So the question is, what type of relationship am I looking for? So again, the acquisition, it's a bucket. So just imagine for next 5 years, we're going to do one deal and nothing else. Then first thing will be we have to do acquisitions. If I build a partnership, I have to do an acquisition. We need a bunch of stuff. So I'll look at the partnership that way. That's a one-time work, right? We work 6 months, underwrite, we bought an asset, or we got an asset under contract. Second segment of the partnership is the debt and equity. Who is investing and who's signing on the loan, who's going to communicate with the lender. That is a part. So it's not a one-time, it's a one-time starting point, then you continue with the 5 years, right? And then last one is the asset management. So asset management is the holy grail of everything. So the team who's managing the asset is delivering the business plan. They are the CEO, CFO, CEO of the whole thing. So we make money on their shoulder, right? That's the responsibility. So when I look at a partnership, or when you look at a partnership LP perspective, use the framework. Acquisition team, and typically on the corporate side, if you work in M&A, you come into the deal team, you make the acquisition, and then you stack together, then you go run the company, right? Similar version, a strong asset manager must have a strong acquisition background or underwriting background. They know what the good, bad, ugly looks like. Then they couple with the team on the debt and equity side, and based on how you structure, you go run the asset. So from the LP side, if you have a sponsor team, this is how you segment it out. So conventional way, there are 20 people in the GP team, right? I'm gonna not do the deal. That's conventional way. Unconventional way, you should take a look at it from there. Who's running the asset? That's typically 1 or 2 individuals. So you're really betting on them and their performance. Rest are just gonna hang out, right? So that's how we take a look at it. And then, second question is, okay, this is on the surface, but let's bring it down to the detail on the legal side. How does it work? Now it's gonna get a little, meaty and technical, so don't worry about it. We'll walk you through. So this is what happens on the PPM and OA. Let's understand the legal structure, right? Because oftentimes we get asked questions, hey, how does the ownership and the leadership work, right? So the question is, if I am betting on my asset managers, where do they sit in the hierarchy of the organization? And then we can take it from there. So when we do the deal structure, what we do, the property belongs to an LLC probably right here, which is the ownership entity. I have some fictitious name on it, so don't hold me responsible for that. Full disclaimer. And again, I'm not a legal person. I'm not an accountant or legal, so I'm not an attorney. So please consult with your legal team before you make a decision. Full disclaimer: this is just for education purposes only. So typically, when we have a property, the property goes to a ownership entity, which is the property holding LLC. Property holding LLC has a manager LLC. That LLC, that's where the asset managers sit. So if Massive were to run a property, me and Sanjay, we come from the ops side, we'll sit in as a asset manager. We do it too. If something happened to Shariah, Sanjay is there. If something happens to Sanjay, I'm here. And inside the team, we have a clear hierarchy who leads the project where we go. Underneath us, we have David Foran. He is the portfolio manager. So he is the first person to lead a project. Behind him, we have it. And with David, we have a finance team. And that's how we run it. So on the property, that's where all the GPs will sit in. So partner 1 and partner 2, whatever the distribution is. I used an example. Let's say we're doing a JV. Partner 1 is Massive. Partner 2 is somebody else. 50-50. They all roll up to the management, but management controls the property. That's what comes in. Then the ownership goes from here. So you see a 70-30 split. I use that example. The ownership entities, 70% belongs to the LP and 30% to the GP. If you have a pref, they kind of wedge that in between. That's the typical standard structure for a syndicating deal that you see. That's a standard, not that we swing in many ways, where you have a class A and a class B and a pref in between. And then this is where it is. So most of the property managers will sit here. So if you read the PPM, you want to know who are you betting on? Go look at the PPM, look at Appendix A, look at the OA probably, and you'll see who's the manager LLC. The manager of the management LLC is the team or the individual that will be responsible for the delivery of the project for the next 5 years. So when a little technical, at least you have an idea now. If you don't know, you don't have to ask. You can go figure it out. But then as you go that way, okay, good. All right, let's next to the next slide. Okay, so the question becomes that, start with the end in mind. We are going to go in a relationship for 5 to 7 years, times however many assets, and I want to understand the team. And then we're going to go. So let's think about we're going to buy a property for $20 million. And the way we call it, we're going to buy a company for $20 million. I'm looking at the C-level team. What happens, right? Okay, first thing is what we call it, we break it down in 3 ways. Financial, and then operational and historical, which is my staying power, my know-how, and my credibility, right? So the framework that we have, it holds true for everybody. If I'm brand new and I'm 20s coming into multifamily and I'm looking to raise money, then my LP investors use the framework, give me a space for it. If I'm 30s or 40s, came from a corporate background, I want to come into multifamily, this framework will hold true for that one as well. Or I grew up in the school of hard knocks, then I want to come in and buy more assets. I want to be a CEO of a $50 million company, which is $50 million asset or $20 million asset. This framework will hold true for that one as well, right? So the first thing we take a look at the staying power. Our standard test is, when someone comes in, we ask the question, what's your balance sheet look like? So all of our GPs, we ask those questions like right away. If somebody wants to be a partner in the asset management, all the thing we talked about, we go through that line by line by line, and we don't take any shortcut for those. So the balance sheet, we typically look for 2x loan amount, and we also review the contingent liability to make sure that the team has enough staying power. For the LP side, you guys don't see it. doesn't really, it's tough. Sometimes it's tough, but we manage that as you kind of go through. But for your side, if you see them playing all the time and doing all the deals, you need to understand how we kind of structure that. So I'll give you a little bit more back end, may not be directly related to you as an LP, but it's good to know as you take a look at it. Second one is macro earning, which we pay attention to what is the non-real estate earning. If I'm doing full-time real estate today, then how was my earning before? And then also, what if the projects we're in, it doesn't cash flow? And we also do a background check. The way we do a background check, anytime lender does a loan, special agency loan, background check already happens. If we do a recourse loan, we already know their credit score and FICO and other stuff, so we kind of sort of know. But the background check is very important, right? So we do it, we ask, it makes us a lot of, it gives us a lot of confidence. I'll explain how, why, in about 10 seconds later. And the last thing is the liquidity. We try to understand, we do understand that all of our asset managers' liquid assets, their current PFS, personal financial statement, and other life-changing impact that could or would impact decisions. What we're trying to say, if you work for a corporate, if somebody wants to be C-level team, they do all those due diligence, because if I have a financial burden today and I don't have money and I have 200, 300, 400, $500,000 going through my hand, at some point in the morning, I'm going to wake up and say, you know what? I need that 50 grand, even though I am hard, but bills, when they show up, they show up. So we pay attention to those. And so when someone touches the asset management, they have access to the bank account, they see the money. So their liquidity, their life-changing impacts, their PFS, liquid assets, all come into the reality right away. Story time, and we'll share after 7 o'clock. But so that's how we take a look at it, and that's how we make sure that we are partnering with the right set of people on the asset management. And life has a way to play it out, and we take this, then we evaluate all the asset managers, and then we put them in a different spot depending on where we are in life, right? It's not that we don't look bad about it, it's about knowing it and make a deliberate choice about it so that individual can do their job in a good, timely fashion and with the fiduciary duty of investing and protect our investors' money. The second one is the operational know-how. If someone comes from the corporate, we try to understand the operational and managerial experience and also P&L ownership. Because, as I mentioned, think about this, LPs, you are investing into a C-level team to run a company, a $20, $30 million company. They're a big deal. If they don't have managerial experience, if they don't have P&L ownership in the previous corporate background, if they played solo, they're going to have a learning curve. So you want to see somebody else in the team who has it so they can balance it out. Same, if they come from managerial experience, we want to see their personal long-term outlook, the decision bias. Because if to a hammer, everything is a nail, right? If you hire a Ferrari engineer to build a Corolla, you get a Ferrari version of Corolla. If you hire a Corolla engineer to build a Ferrari, you'll get a Corolla version of Ferrari, right? So depending on our background, where we come from, we have a decision bias. Understanding that is also important of leadership. Just like multifamily property management, right? We don't bring a Class A property management company to a Class C, vice versa. So somebody's managerial experience, their decision bias also kicks in to how they would typically treat that property. Last thing is time availability. Love it or hate it, running a multifamily is a full-time job. If you have one asset, you can wing it. 2 assets, it's gonna be stretched if you have a W-2 somewhere. It doesn't matter if you're flexible or not. If you get phone call, you work from home, it is a job for 5 years. And we do a test, it's called third deal test. We ask the question, if someone is an asset manager, if you buy 3 deals back to back, can they support it? Or what's the pathway? If that doesn't match for us, we don't typically put them on asset management role. So for you, it's the same thing. And that has been a silver lining issue for majority of the multifamily syndicating team were struggling. It's that they forgot about the time availability. And they even though their managers didn't have P&L ownership, so they could not make the turn fast enough. And the last one is the historical credibility, because a lot of us, we come from non-multifamily. Then the question is, how do we understand that team is good? So we said, okay, let's look at historical performance, right? So we call it, we look at corporate background, we look at the real estate background and education background, putting all together, we decide whether that individual or that team will grow to a $100 million company, a portfolio, or a $50 million company, or they're good for 10. Same thing for you when you invest. Ask the question what the background looks like, right? Can they run a $20 million company? Because chances are, whoever you're sponsoring or investing with, they're going to do more than one deals. Then does it make sense, right? And the other one is the deal making credibility. For us, we check the quantity and the velocity of the deals that they do, the quality, the return that they do, and the deals in the domain that they do. And then the last one, the domain credibility, what's going on in between all of them. It matters for us. In a conventional way, they would say, hey, do 1, do 2, do 3, then you wait, get a return, then get another one. But we call it speed matters, and the way you go about it matters. If someone is doing 3, 4, 5 deals in a year, hypothetically, if they have an appropriate team and the balance sheet and everything else, in 2 years, they're going to see they're going to go through somebody's life cycle of 10 years. That's a power by itself. Like, I'll give you an example, massive, right? We have done 15 syndications. There's not many teams out there bought 15 syndications in 5 years, or 6 or 7 or 8 years, right? So we compress that 6, 7, 8 years of learning into 2 years. So we're a new car with a lot of mileage. So we kind of sort of see what works, what doesn't work, right? And also we believe the velocity of deal matters, because not everybody is a deal maker. They just aren't. And if you are not, then the only thing you're going to compete is on the price. On the flip side, that is the worst thing you can compete with, right? So question is, if you're running a business, what is your specialty, right? If everybody takes the same test, gets the same score, then there's the one job available who's going to get it. So ask the question, if you look at it, it's what is the specialty of the team that you're investing with, so that whatever that they do has a protection from the regular market, right? So that's the way we typically take a look at it. And then, we ask the question, why, right? So think about now, almost a good chunk of you invested in multifamily, and you do continuously invest. And last 2 years, if you have invested, then, market gave us a piece of it. So all of us, we struggle at some point, right? But then you ask the question, you go back and test. My ask to you is, when you have some time, look at your experience, and you go through these 3 different tests and see who is the sponsor team, dissect out who's the asset management team, and take the asset management team and run them through this framework. And hopefully you'll find the result interesting and should jive with the version that we are talking about here. On that note, please fill out the polls. Would appreciate it when you do. It helps us collect data so we can optimize these sessions for you guys as well. So thank you for that one. And Trevor, let us know where we at. So we are pacing this as we go. Okay. All right, so let's go to the next one. Now the question is, let's say everything goes through fine and we decided to partner with the team. I'll give you a case in point that we partner quite a bit. We grew with partnership. Outside the Texas, we went into 4 markets, all 4 markets. We went through via a partner. And when we went via a partner, we looked at the historical credibility, the corporate background, and this. Now, when we went in 2 years ago, we didn't have the whole framework. We had some version of it. We optimized as we go. So most of the time we came out ahead with the partnership because we did the due diligence. Sometime we came short because we did it, but that wasn't enough. So all of the things that we're talking about here, those are built based on the 15 deals that we have done, 37 relationships that we have built with, and all those good times and the bad times that came with it, right? That's there. Oh, someone asked, what is a CART model? This is Shell model. What we call it is capacity, achievement, relationship, and technical. Capacity means we believe a $5 million CEO is different than a $20 million CEO, is different than a $30 million CEO. And CEO won't be asset manager of a $5 million company, property. And sometimes $5 million CEO will never be a $20 million CEO. They're just headspace different, right? So we look at them that way. And achievement is the success. if someone says, I'm going to run a $20 million company, I'm at 40, I never had a team. I worked at an entry-level analyst somewhere else. Then we'll ask the question, why do you believe you can go make the swap in 6 months? Is it the training? Is it something misalignment? So we look at the achievements and the relationship. It's a relationship game. We need to know how to build relationship. And there's a lot of different ways, but we need to be able to see that individual, it's relationship heavy. They can work with others. They can take feedbacks. I understand it's tough to take feedback sometimes, tough for me, but we pay attention to feedbacks. We appreciate it. And the T is the technical. Technical doesn't really matter in the real estate much, but the CAR is really interesting how that plays out. Oftentimes, so our goal is to only partner. We, it just happens. Some of us, we're just too strong with their opinion and we cannot swing it. And that's the issue that we get into most of the time. The friction happens there. For a massive side, we always have an opinion. Opinion tells you that you know how to hold the position, but don't get married to your opinion. Wait for the information. As the information comes about, change your position as you go. So that flexibility, the mental flexibility has to be there. And sometimes we just don't. And we have an asset we're struggling because of that. Other partner is not there. So it is so that relationship kicks in from that side of it. All right, so let's say we go through the process. Everything sounds good. Then ultimately we're gonna do a deal. Then we're gonna do a stress test. We call it scenario-based planning. We hope for the best and plan for the worst. On that note, if someone gives us a call, we don't have a prior working relationship, and they have an LOI and a property under LOI signed, and they reach out to us to do a deal. By design, we can't because we are slow. It takes us about 2.5, 3 months to get to know some folks or our potential partners, because we do run those scenarios. We do simulate those practices. What if I do one deal with you? What if you do 3 deals with us? And all those things takes about 2 or 3 months for us to kind of settle down and do that work for us. So on that note, what we do, we look at the time commitment of the asset management. Because oftentimes it happened to me, it happened to Sanjay, it happened to Mike, all of us. We are coming from a corporate background, and then we migrate into a full-time real estate position. But as long as we talked about it, we had a game plan in there, we are fine, right? And then replacement planning. Just like work, and we are replaceable, and we ask the question, who is the asset manager today? What happens if that individual gets sick? What happens if life-changing event happens and the individual has to make a dramatic choice to go something else? What happens, right? Who's my number 2? And then we also drill it through and how do the takeover, all this other stuff, and the liquidity event. Life happens. What if I'm running a $20 million property? My working capital took a hit because my CapEx check did not show up for next 3 days, and my vendor is going to walk away unless I give them a $200 grand worth of check. And it happened 3 times on my 3 properties, hypothetically, since you have 15. And that's the mitigation that we do, that liquidity event, and so that's that. So long way. We gave you a lot of context. Now let me show how the massive is going about it, right? So for us, we believe multifamily is a fantastic domain to be in. At the same time, multifamily is one of the toughest domain to break into. For the right set of folks, if you do the right way of looking at it, it's a meaningful domain to be in, and you can create lots of flexibility in financially and also in your life slowly over time. So when Massive came in, first thing first, we went kind of sort of backwards. So this is our team behind the team. Typically, you guys see that early on, but I brought that back today. So on the scenario planning, if you think about it, this was our number 2. We said from the very beginning, we are building a large organization. We're going to bring in a lot of investors' money. And if something happens to us, we got to have a team, it's a process, and you run. So on the surface, on the first line that you see, it's all of our investor relations team. And hopefully everybody knows everybody there. And then here we have our marketing and event coordinator. So we're really happy that Rimsha joined us 4 months ago. She came from Baylor School of Medicine. She used to be the program coordinator for medical doctors per se. So we knew her, so we recruited her to brought her into the Massive program because we want to give you guys the same feel, right? If someone can handle medical doctors, they can handle our masters, right? So you come in and help us out. So we're heavily impressed. Akshay, same thing. She went to UK for school. And then she's a marketing manager. Then we have the finance organization, underwriting, David, Robert have. It's like a CFO type framework for about last 15, 20 years there. They came and joined us 4 months ago, 3 months ago. Then Ellen, full-time underwriter, and the Bhaskar came from Shell, expat in Middle East, then went back to India working for us since we started Massive. Jancy is left. We have replacement already here, but she's a CPA. And then we have a bunch of accountants out there on the R1 side. So the team first. On the tech side, we have Ramesh. So he's leading the technology side of it. He has 2 analysts came join, and we have 3rd analyst coming up. And all of our analysts are technical, either engineers or you have a finance background from a large institution, wherever you come from. Then we have Chris. He runs the brokerage arm of it. They're all full-time. Then we have the construction arm. We have 2 more people here that we are missing. So that's the Massive team, right? And that's how we look at it. So it's a process. If you're investors, you invest with us, you'll see whenever you sign in, we are calling, we're making sure your onboarding process are working out, your documentation is working out, the same process, right? Reporting, yes, we struggled early on. We started just like everybody else. Then we kind of went at it. And this is our partners. So from the first 3 on the top is me, Sanjay, and Mike, and then Bo and Pat. It's really John and Pat and Alexis. That's the Hamilton family. Pretty well known, heavy. They're 42 years into the game. They know half of the Houston. So it's an interesting play that we have. I'll give you a storyline. We looked at a property today I was mentioning from Johnson & Johnson. That's in the ETJ of Houston, but located in Richmond. We need to get a TxDOT approval for a carb cut. And one of the guys in our meeting, he was saying, yeah, TxDOT 75 weeks. We started laughing. John goes, no, I know the mayor. I know the guy. He's going to help me out to pass through. That's the relationship that you want, right? That we're going to go. All right, so putting it back, right? I gave you guys a little bit more tougher view of the world, but at the same time, we believe multifamily is a very fantastic place to be in. So everybody should have multifamily in the portfolio, but not everybody should own it. I mean, own means leading it. Now the question is, how can we help? Again, we've been through that churn and a burn of what we talked about. So then we have a way of solving it. I'll share it a little bit more. So that's why we came up with the Massive Masters. We called it that, hey, if somebody owns a business, they're already investing, they're in the thick of it, and they have a corporate employee, but want to be a general partner, let's go take a look at it academically, because everybody could come in, but not the way you think. So if you kind of contrast that with it, if someone has a W-2 or someone has a business outside the real estate and they want to be a sponsor of a real estate, yes, absolutely you can, but not the way you think, probably not the way asset management, right? It's good to know asset management. You may be sponsoring the loan. You may be being a KP. You may create a fund that you can come in. So there's a structural way of best park it. So we feel like we're a little bit different on that sense of it. Hey, we'll give you an opinion about what we saw so that you can have a higher grade of a journey. And the second thing that we're different from the other team is the speed. Right? For us, the conventional process is, hey, you go watch those 10 videos, get a phone call with me, then this is the list of 5 brokers, go get some shit deals, right? If the broker don't know you, they'll give you all the crappy deals ever. Like, I buy 70, 80 houses a year on my other side. I don't buy anything from MLS. That's not the place you go buy. If you do buy, you pay the highest price. Same thing. If I call a broker first time, if I'm the brand new guy calling the brokers, good luck finding a deal that's going to pencil out to someone who is a pro. Like Paul, I want to pick on you. So Paul is in the call. He has been doing this for 2 or 3 decades. He's not going to buy most of the deals out in the market. The question is, you want to be Paul and buy that. So our thing was that you don't have to know the brokers. Massive already knows. You start there. You don't have to talk to the lenders. Massive already negotiated the price. You start there. You don't have to figure out your deal flow. Massive already did it. You start there. So your journey gets shortened quite a bit. Your speed goes up, right? So that's ours. And this is our 90 days. We do a lot of testing. Again, we have a masterclass coming up. We did it. Typically, what we believe that asset management is the holy grail of everything. So you got to be a strong asset manager. You got to know acquisition and the underwriting and the deal finding. And also you got to know how to raise money, because you are putting the debt and the equity together such a way that sets the tone for you. How are you going to manage it? And then in the masterclass, we'll walk you through that, how they really work. We'll take a simulation of an asset. We'll talk you guys through. I mean, we'll go through the whole 5 years of journey, or a short version of that journey, how to kind of go about it. And for us, last but not the least here, is that we also have our own software here. So we are tool heavy. We use RedIQ, CoStar, our own software. We'll do a demo there. Whole idea is that if I am running an asset, I have 2, 3, 4 assets, and if I don't have a control of my data, independent to the property management company, good luck. That's all I can say. I wish you the very best. Because if you're running a company, you gotta be controlling, at least you need to be able to put a loop around the data come in and out, which aligns with your thought. If they don't, you're analyzing that and taking the team through the process wherever it's supposed to go. So for us, we saw that issue everywhere. We had the same issue first 1.5 years. Then last year we came up with our tool where we put our software on top of all the property management company, and we run the property analysis independent to the management company. So when we show up to a call, our goal is to know the property's characteristics, their P&L performance, before property management company tells me what's going on. So we have our weekly call. I will show you how it works. Sorry. So David and Bhaskar. So if I walk into a property management call, I'm getting briefed by the software, which is Bhaskar loads the data. Every Monday we run it, and then David checks it. Between David and I, we're figuring out that where the project stands, what the P&L are behaving, whether I'm ahead of the pro forma, below the pro forma, and then what I need to tell the property management company. So we do the homework before even walk into the management company. So when we talk to our massive masters who wants to run asset, they get the same flavor. On top of that, if someone says, I'm going to be an asset manager, we bring them into our calls. So they see it, they get it. And then when they get an asset, it's not like their first time. They already talked about it for the last 3 months, 4 months. Now they're doing it again. So that's how we kind of go about doing our program. What else? And let me see. One more slide, then I'm not gonna go over that. I'm not gonna make you guys bored. We have a massive exercise that we do. We have a community education training tools and tactics. This tool's pretty awesome. We love it. Just a data point, Neil Baba was here on our last session, last virtual conference. Him and I was talking on the back end. Again, I appreciate him, the way he goes about his tools. I was asking him, hey, Neil, what's your tools cost? I just said it out. He said, yeah, I spend about, 300 grand, 400 grand a year just for his tools. Then with that, I was behind. So we spent about $250,000 a year only tools. State of class. I mean, it's all the software that we use is top notch. It's tough to find it, but we give it to all of our students and us. We use it to accelerate all the journey. And last but not the least, this is our team. And what I would say, I'll pause. There was a lot of data dumped today on you guys.
I did forget to say, everybody put your seatbelts on, so I hope nobody was injured. We do have one question just on your CTA, what the C and the T were. It was achievement, relationship for the last two.
Yes, it's CART, C-A-R-T. It's capacity, achievement, relationship, and technical.
Perfect.
All right, let me see the questions right now. So
I think there was some questions about land, and I mentioned right now the land that we have, we've done it under a joint venture, not a syndication. Doesn't mean at some point we may change that plan.
We should be coming up with some syndication. In the next couple of deals that we saw, one of them will be syndication. We don't know yet, but if we do it, it's going to be syndication. So on the retail side, it's a class A. Class A, no up and coming, it's up and came already. So it's a class A, second gen, first gen, but we're going to do a syndication on the land side. And also we are very picky on the land side, because if you do a land side, depending on, when are we taking the loan? But one thing is certain, most of the loan that we're taking on the retail side, it's a recourse loan. So our balance sheet goes in, and it's a lot more things that we have to do to feel comfortable about that. So in return, right now, all the loans that all the lands that we're doing, where we are the lead sponsor, we're not going into somebody else's deal. And if they have a land to bring it in, they become a co-sponsor. We become the lead sponsor because we are taking a non-recourse loan. So thank you. Yes,
If I
Mahir, it
get
was underwriting.
question, we can get them. I think I tried to answer most of them in the chat. They kept me busy tonight. There was a lot of engagement.
Thank you. No, thank you. Really appreciate it. So I'm going to stop sharing and open up for Q&A. Let me take some questions. Please ask away. Look, this is a tough one, but it's a good one. And all of us were doing it, right? You as an LP, you are doing it. Us as a sponsor, we're doing it. And this is a continuous thing you have to do. The whole idea is that you want to analyze as much as you can so you can increase the likelihood of success, right? And decrease the likelihood of failure. That's all. So.
And don't forget to take my poll. Morgan, you get your hand up. Good to see you again. I think I talked to you like every day now for the last 5 days. We're good friends now.
Yes, that feels pretty accurate, Trevor. So here, what does the T for technical mean in CART? You started talking about technical, you started talking about team, and I got lost.
I got it. That's fine. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to share my screen, then I'll talk about it. What does T mean? So when I think about T, so T means technical expertise, right? So let's say, if I'm an LP and I'm looking at a team who's going to run the asset, and that team must have a technical expertise about real estate within the market for that asset class, right? So that's the definition of it. So I'll give an example. When we started Massive, I came from non-multifamily side. So land is my base. Then I added industrial on top of that. Strategy marketing is my home. That's how I got into Massive. Sanjay came in. He full cycled in six properties, and he led about 9 assets. So he plugged us the operational know-how for large multifamily assets and put together. Me, Mike, and Sanjay was as a whole, we had the technical expertise to run and operate multifamily assets. Does it make sense? Okay. And then I'll talk a little bit more on the technical side. So I grew up in Houston. When I say local, I'm local in Houston because I bought over 200 properties in Houston market alone. So if you give me a zip code on a street address, I know the block by block asset. That inherently made me a technical expert in Houston market. Go about it, right? So that's my way of going about understanding. I came into Dallas market the same way, and I started buying lands in Dallas. All of a sudden, I know south side, north side, east side, west side, all the pockets. You're getting a flavor of it. So, and then we go walk all the properties. All of a sudden, you're getting a technical expert in the in underwriting or the local. And then the question is, what if we don't live there? What if I want to buy assets in Colorado? I'm just throwing some number, or somewhere in Carolinas, but I don't live there. I don't own asset. How do we do it? So we solved it via the tool. So the technical reason we use RedIQ, we cut a $23,000 check. That's because in RedIQ, I get to store all of the data. So if I want to know the characteristics of a city, all I have to do for 3 months, go pick up every single asset in that location or listed, call all the brokers, get the financial, dump it into the system. All of a sudden, we have a database of actual performance of this. And if I don't know the ratio, I can figure out the data from there. That's how we get to know 6 markets at the same time. So I don't have to be there. I don't have to own it. Without owning it, I'm just underwriting it in such a way with the right appropriate tool. So I am collecting the data so that I can simulate a version of owning it. That's where we take a look at it.
And let's back up a little bit too. At the very beginning, we talked about, and it's an important factor. When you're buying something like this, you're actually buying a business that should be operated as a business. It just happens to be backed by an asset, which is a commercial real estate building, whether it's an apartment complex or what it is. At the end of the day, very much more this is buying businesses, improving the operating of a business, and there would be no business if there wasn't a commercial real estate asset behind it. So bigger picture, it's really important to remember that.
great question. So let me see. I got a couple of questions on the chat box. Okay, I'll go backwards. The first question is for a mastermind. Do you guys partner with the co-GP? Yes and no, right? If they need us, we're there. If they don't, then it's fine. Our goal is to accelerate your journey, whatever way is possible. So we'll give you our tools and a process to get there, right? So yes, so short answer is yes, but it also depends if the deal is too small. We believe you can run it. Then we'll say, hey, why don't you run it and go hang out with Sal, and Sal and you can run the whole deal. We don't have to be a part of it because it's just healthy for the deal. Go do it. Then another question, how do you find those people to build this team? Oh man. Trevor is laughing. So we signed up for every single mastermind you can find, except maybe 2 in the USA, which has a meaningful size. And we studied them, then we figure out what is it. So you gotta go in a network or in a club, because what happens is everybody does real estate, and a handful of people will do real estate the way you want to do it. So the faster you get into a community or platform, it's better for you. I know it sucks, but drink the Kool-Aid. It took me a little bit, but once I signed up 1, I signed up for 3. So Massive as a whole, I think we're part of 9 different masterminds. So that's how we get a lot of information. Because every single team, they have their own specialty. And as you grow, it is with 99% certainty, you'll be part of, you'll be end up being a part of multiple different groups. And they just accelerate. Rod Khalif, at some point, I'll give an example, had a boardroom. It's about 15, 20 grand just to kind of get into the group on top of his program. We did it. What happened? I met a individual outside real estate. He's really a big player in the DFW area. I became friend with him because we worked at the corporate level. Mike went into the boardroom. He saw him there. All of a sudden, he saw Massive 2 times and 2 different places. He saw us coming. We became a good friend. So my first deal that I did, or first offer that I made on an apartment, it was an $8 million cash. It was on his balance sheet. That's what they do as you kind of go through it. And in this case, you don't have to go figure it out. We did it. So you kind of leverage that as you go through. That's what it is. All right.
And part of what we did too was we spent a lot of energy figuring out what's wrong and how could we make it better. And again, I don't want to get into too much what's wrong because we don't want to, but our goal was to say, listen, how do we make people more successful? How do we do it? And again, the way it comes in, they come into our ecosystem, they grow with us. I refer to it that our mastermind is the tide and we're the ship. And as we get the students, everybody rises up together. We become more successful with the team that has it. And we've just got all these eyeballs and everything that's happening.
Thank you, Trevor. I think they don't already ask a
question. And answer another question. I stalked them so much that they just invited me to join them. So it's kind of a joke, but I'm everywhere guy. So anybody who knows me, I'm at every mastermind, every group, every meetup, every conference. And I just started, and my very first 2 passive investments were with Sanjay, one of the partners. Mike and I became friends about 4 years ago, Sharar about 2 years ago. And I just started showing up and they went, well, this guy won't go away. Let's bring him in. I'm kind of being funny. And then Brenda started stalking me and we brought Brenda in and I joined actually because with Jasmine, what she was telling me, it's just, it's organic.
Yes. Hold on, Trevor. It wasn't organic. It was a push. We recruited everybody. So everybody in our team was reverse recruited. So nobody came, just walked in. We followed, we tracked, we saw you were special in your own ways. So we said, hey, would you please come hang out with us? That's all. So yeah. Thank you, Trevor. No, Trevor, we had eye on Trevor from the very beginning. So I was like, okay, let's go. Same for Jasmine, same for Brenda, same for Ramesh. Everybody in our team came with a recommendation that inherently gave us a high level of confidence. With that note, we made our fair share of mistakes, and we still do. So it happens. So we call it that we build a team. And
Bhaskar worked with you at Shell for how many years? And then he left Shell, and then now he's been with us too.
Bhaskar, I've seen him growing up. So I see him at 22 years old. Right now he's 29, 8 years with me. I saw him fresh out of college, he was freaking out on our call when he joined Shell. Then he grew up. then he got a CPA, then he got married, then he left Shell, went to Dubai for expat role. Then I brought him back again. So it was really cool. It's almost all of us, right? It's like we saw each other growing up. That's kind of cool. So
Yeah, and there's a question about KP and for students, absolutely. Yeah, again, you know, we believe in the deal, of course.
and on that note, we'll give our opinion, right? Again, we have an opinion, but we're happy to be wrong, but we'll give our opinion, whatever the opinion is. So we underwrite everything and we'll share with the underwriting. We'll say that's our position, right? We believe we can do this, but if you believe otherwise, that's perfectly fine. If your assumption, our assumption is close, then we're happy to support, but sometimes it's too far, right? We have a deal, we thought we liked everything. We got the underwriting. They wanted us to do a KP and asset advisory. We underwrote it, but we felt like the rent was pushing too hard. And our position was, even though I can guarantee the loan, I like the team, but we're not going to put ourselves in a place where we're pushing too hard on the rent in today's market. Hence, we left the money on the table. We walked away. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, and the KP is a key principle. So that's the person who has the net worth, the liquidity, and sometimes the experience. So a bank requires you to have the net worth. It requires you to have the liquidity of 10% of a loan. So if you're getting a $30 million loan, you need 3% liquid. And then you also need the experience. So those are the things that lenders look for before giving you a loan for a property like this. Great question.
Oh, great question. Thank you. And Kiki asked, are we hard on those assets? Location hard set? Answer is no. But we know those areas. We know some of the other areas that we have data. And if we don't know, then we'll bet on you and to tell us why you know that area. And then we go. We try not to do too many new things with too many new people in the tough times. Right? If I'm new, if you're new, we're going to a new market, trying to buy a new kind of asset. And for the first time, it's a tough one. So we kind of balance it out. But again, on that side, if you like a market, we'll come through for you. We'll support it all the different ways we can. And then I think, Trevor, you answered one of the questions about the Donald's question about getting into the asset management, right?
Yeah.
So it's a tough one. It's a tough one in the sense that if you're outside, then you don't get a chance of seeing what's inside. Either you see it from the LP side or you see it on the sponsor side. On the sponsor side, look, things are running so fast, so quick. You have to see exactly what value that you add and whether the team is open to take it. And then you kind of couple that together and you go. So it's a tough one. So I would say on that note, go be a part of the community. At least you get close to it. And then, do some LP here and there for a team that you like. And then stick around. Stick around with whatever team that you want to do. The longer you stick around, closer you're going to get. And all of a sudden, if they need something, first call is Donald, right? Just like a broker, you want to be the first call and the last call. So you want to be the first call and the last call. And that's exactly how it is. Okay,
Awesome.
cool. Is Kelly is in the mix? The answer is yes. So if you ask my opinion, if all thing comes to things and I don't have I just don't need any money, I'll buy properties in two areas, New York and California. Cash flow sucks. Appreciation is there. So if you can make it, hey man, we're in, right? But it's just tough to make deals work. It's a different kind of underwriting versus the Sun Belt. So our position is, we're looking at some deals in California. From us perspective, we'll do the KP. That's about it for now, to support someone who is local there. And then over time, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, long way of saying Cali's the mix, but that's not our focus. But we'll support if the deal comes about.
Awesome. So I'm going to end the poll in 1 minute. We're going to stop recording. We're going to stop broadcasting live on Facebook. That means that you can ask us anything. So it's not recorded. The world doesn't know it. But one thing I want to end with here is, if you thought we brought some value, invite a friend next week. Our goal is to bring value, to create a community, share what we know, get people thinking, stimulated. And so if you enjoyed today at all, invite a friend next week and hang around with us.
And I forgot, Rimsha told me today that we have what 60 people almost will be joining this Saturday, and about more than 25 are Rice alums. I'm like scared. I was like, golly, now I have to back up whatever that we say, right? I have some good crowd coming up, so it's gonna be fun. So if you're Houston, swing by. We'll make it interesting.
Awesome.
All right.
If
So
you want to stop the recording,
cool. Let me
they don't
stop
give me enough
recording.
power to